You prepare for a golf tournament?
Well, I hit balls maybe 20 minutes, putt a little bit, smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes, drink 3 Diet Cokes, and go to the first tee. Some days I won't even go to the range.
You know what? That man needed to win a green jacket. Can you imagine if John Daly was a Masters winner? The best part of if John Daly had won the Masters was the Masters dinner and what he would serve. I contend there would have been no food. It would have been the first Masters dinner in the history of the Masters dinner where it was straight booze. Booze is all that's going to be served today. What's on the menu? Booze. What's the appetizer? Booze. Dessert? Booze. All booze. Welcome in Monday, April 7th. It's the greatest week in the sports calendar. Why is it the greatest week in the sports calendar? Well, you know why. Gord, I don't need to tell everybody. That's why. Yeah. Masters week. This isn't going to get old. We're going to play it all the time. You may turn it off, and I understand. If you're like, I'm annoyed by it. No more Masters music. I do understand. I will politely just say, you can come back next week. Most of the time we do this show, at least I do this show for you. You, the audience. This is the one week where this show is about me and for me. I look forward to this. I look forward to this week. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch live from Augusta, live from the Masters, on repeat every single night. All the old highlights, the music, all of it. Gets underway today. Practice rounds delayed because of weather. More practice rounds tomorrow. Wednesday, the par 3 with all the hot wives and girlfriends in the white uniforms and little kids running around. And then Thursday, it will get underway. The playing of the 89th, I should know this, 89th Masters. We've got some cool announcements this week in regards to the Masters. But yeah, it's my week, man. I love this week. And we got the national championship game tonight. Houston, Florida, baseball, all of that kind of stuff. We'll get to all of it today on the Daily Puck Drop. We'll get to the M's 3 and 7 start. We'll talk about Victor Robles, the Masters. We will play the full Sports Pit episode 3 titled Kingdome today with myself, former KJR alums, Matt Stretch Johnson, who's nursing yet another injury. He was coming in a little hot, then didn't start the show hot. He was in a hot mood, but then closed the show in a hot mood. And then Stephen Ernest Sandmeyer, old Sandmeyer, will play the full show for you today. We released it last night for Puck's Posse members. And thank you to all who have signed up from the get-go, people that are still signing up for the Puck's Posse. And again, as we mentioned, just $5 a month. And of course, you can get a discount as well if you sign up for a year. QR code, if you're streaming the show, will take you right there. Also, easy place to go is simply just go to pucksports.com. Top of the webpage will take you there. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, no go-to guy today. Got a text message, and I'm going to allow the audience to decide if he's telling the truth. Got a text early this morning. Well, not early this morning, 8:45-ish. Hey, or no, it was a phone call. And I was about to tape with Dane Brugler. Episode 3 with Dane Brugler will come out later this afternoon for Puck's Posse members, our NFL Draft Countdown show. And we talk a lot about the Seahawks, what they're going to do at 18, quarterback decisions with their 2 picks in the second round. So that's coming out later this afternoon. There's a lot coming out today. And I said, hey, I can't talk right now. What's up? He says, quote, I'll read it for you. Sick as a dog. Just woke up. Can't make it today. Sorry. I'm like, all right, get better. No problem. Now, let's unpack this here for a second with the go-to guy. Where was he all this weekend? Does anybody remember where he was? That's right. He was in Pullman, Washington. He was in God's country, America's finest university. And why was he there, you ask? Well, it was Dad's Weekend. Now they've renamed it Parents' Weekend. We don't need to get into why they've renamed it Parents' Weekend. They've just, whatever. It's Dad's Weekend. Although, actually, it's Mom's Weekend. Dad's Weekend is in the fall. It's really technically Mom's Weekend. So he went, and I haven't heard much for what happened during Mom's Weekend, but he's got 2 kids there. They like to get after it. He likes to get after it. I did see a video message that he posted on his Substack account, Jim Moore, the go-to guy, .substack.com, by the way, if you want to sign up and read all of his work that he's putting up there, and a video message. I should play it. Didn't have time to download it. I don't know all the particulars, but I do know this. He somehow tipped or crashed a golf cart this weekend at Palouse Ridge. He claims he was not drunk. How else do you tip it? We'll see. Slightly buzzed? I don't know. All I know is this. Mom's Weekend, WSU, tips and crashes a golf cart, doesn't show up today, says he's sick as a dog. Yeah. How are you sick? I mean, that's an all-timer. I mean, just say, hey, I can't make it, man. Like, I went hard this weekend, and I'm done, and I don't want to come in. No problem. We've all been there. It's why when you take these trips, I'll be going on our annual guys golfing trip next week, so I'll be off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'll be honest with you. Should I not come back on Monday? Yeah, 100%. I should take that Monday off as well, because I'm going to get back Sunday night. And when that alarm goes off Monday morning at 7, I'm going to be like, nope, don't want to do it. Don't want to get up. Do not want to get up at all, because we've all been there before. So speedy recovery there to the go-to guy who will not be with us. But don't worry, that gives us the opportunity to play the full hour of the Sports Pit with Sandmeyer and Stretch coming up at about bottom of the hour. We'll play it around 10:30 or so and give you the full hour treatment. Which, again, is available now, was available last night to Puck's Posse members to sign up, and you can get the early listen or the early watch. All right, it is the Daily Puck Drop. We are broadcasting live from the Limback Lumber Studios. Contractors, they got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. They've got the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. They got old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. Give Limback Lumber a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online, limbacklumber.com. Big supporters from day one here of Puck Sports and the Daily Puck Drop. And, of course, the proud sponsor of our Little League team. Sorry, sip of coffee. And they're making us these cool retro 1970s like starter jackets for the kids. When we get them in, we'll show them off. God, they're going to be pretty. We took one on the chin this weekend, the Limback Lumber. We've fallen now to 2-3 on the season. Queen Anne, power hitters. But that's okay. We'll be back on it. Again, another coaching mistake. It was funny, though, for the kids. This is how spoiled some of our teams in Ballard are. So for the majority, well, most of our upper division teams, all of them, we've got turf fields around here. We're like the only neighborhood, Ballard, Queen Anne, Magnolia, that has turf everywhere. So these kids have been playing on turf. Now, it's great because we can play in the rain. But we have not practiced one time on a dirt infield. Not once. Well, one time, but it was raining, so we really couldn't practice on it. We get out there, and I mean, these God bless them. And Queen Anne, that's all they play on is dirt infields. I mean, they got the hops down. They know where the pebbles are. Our kids out there are like, I mean, that ball's going bing, bing, boom. Spoiled. Because like, well, why can't we play on turf? I'm like, well, because they don't have turf fields here, and you got to learn how to play with a dirt infield. It was a shock to the boys of how much that ball was bouncing around, but it was fun. Cool thing about those Queen Anne play fields, if you ever played up there, the fences, you got to hit a home run. Now, we didn't come close to a home run, but I'm just saying it's pretty cool that they've got it up there. All right. Let's see. Give Limback Lumber a call. I mentioned that before. 206-782-3487. Follow the show on all the social media platforms. Puck Sports on X. And also Instagram and Blue Sky, Puck_sports on TikTok, and find us on Facebook as well. And, of course, everything up at pucksports.com. Sign up to be a Pucks Posse member. There's also information we'll get into in a second. We talk about the Masters. The Puck the Picker Masters pool is back and up and running. And click on the website. Again, pucksports.com. It will take you right to the sign-up. You got to sign up first. Big thanks to Sandman Pools for setting this up. It's great. It's clean. It's a season-long majors pool. So you got to pick 2 golfers in every major. Can't have any repeat picks. And the prize package is just click there now and go look at the prizes. Unbelievable. No one's got a better prize package than this, than Puck the Picker Majors Pool. So we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. All right. Mariners swept again to the Giants, that short 3-game series. They return home. They'll start up a 6-game homestand. First up is the hated Houston Astros. 3-7. This little nugget from Adam Jude, which I didn't know, and I'm thinking, hell, I would have thought they would have had more of these 3-7 starts. Their 3-7 start, their worst start since 2017. You know, one of the maddening things when you think about the start here for the season for them is the fact that we've asked Julio to get off to a good start. Now, I wouldn't say this is a great start he's been off to, but it's certainly better than it has been. The average is not there. 216, but on base 356. Slugging 514, could be better, but that's still good. And an OPS of 869. 3 home runs and 5 ribbies driven in. And he hit the home run again yesterday. He's had an opposite field home run. He's hitting the ball hard. And I think that's the thing that's encouraging about him, is how hard he's been hitting the ball. But he just hasn't carried over into a better start. Now, he's going to get, and he's getting some criticism from a comment he made after the game to the reporters. Daniel Kramer, I'm sure Shannon was there, and, of course, Adam Jude sitting in there now covering the beat there for the Mariners. And he's been getting a heat online for his comments about the start of the season, where he said, quote, "The way I see it, the Giants are a really good team, and we've been playing really good baseball. Like, they're one of the hottest teams in MLB, and neck to neck, and they've got home." He said, "And we were neck to neck, and they had home field advantage. I think it would have been a different story if we were playing at home, but that's just it. Ain't nothing to regroup about. Ain't nothing to say, oh, like, do this better or do this and that. We're playing really good baseball. And if you ask me, I think we're in a really good spot 10 games in." Now, that, again, is going to get a lot of pushback. I don't think anyone would say that after 10 games, they're 3-7, they're in a really good spot. It's hard to say that you're in a really good spot, you know, with a record of 3-7 after 10 games, because they're not. They're not in a really good spot. I mean, look at the standings right now already with where they're at. You know, you start. We're not going to be chasing here, but you're 5 games out already. It's early, not even 10 games into the season, and you're already behind the 8 ball. And we've always talked about this team. Please get off to a fast start. And this is something, for whatever reason, over the years has just avoided them. And you start talking about the big picture for them. Last year, or the last 2 years, you missed the postseason by 1 game. And yes, all this stuff is early. Of course, there's no one that's going to say it's not early. But when you have this history of missing the playoffs by 1 game, and you look back to these games, you look to yesterday. You lose in the bottom of the 9th inning. You lose, was it the day before, or in that series, you lose in extra innings. There's 2 games right. There's 2 games that were clearly easily winnable. And you lose both. And at the end of the year, they find themselves, you know, another game out of the playoffs. You look to those 2 games. But that's how they're going to win, and that's how they're going to lose. There's just, right now with this team, it's a flawed team. It's a flawed roster. And unfortunately, and it sucks to say this 10 games into the season, it just cannot hold up. From an offensive standpoint, cannot hold up. There's just way too many holes. And now with injuries, and if there's any news here on Victor Robles as we're talking, but that didn't look good yesterday. It looked, at least his reaction looked awful. The injury itself of him running into the net, I think we're all kind of in the same boat, aren't we? I don't know what he did. I mean, it looks like his shoulder probably hyperextends, but, and I know that's what they said afterwards, that it was the shoulder, but he wasn't holding the shoulder. He was holding his wrist. It looked like he had broken his wrist. I think that was the first reaction, I think, from all of you, and certainly from me, is that, yeah, he broke it. But then you watch the replay, and you're like, well, I don't understand. Where did he break it? And so hopefully we get good news today. Fingers crossed. I don't know. Based on what I saw there yesterday live and then a replay, I don't know how we can have good news coming out of the injury situation there with Victor Robles. I don't know. I don't know there's any way that looked good. And there's any way that you think that he's going to be fully recovered by that. I mean, he certainly is going to be out for some time. But, yeah, I mean, again, there's a mindset of Julio that I think I like in a way, just because, hey, I'm not going to press the panic button right now. And I think in baseball, you've got to have that. You've got to have that mentality, because if you start pressing, you start getting so like, hey, we've got to chase this, we've got to chase that. I think that you can spin out of control a little bit more, and I think they've done that in the past. But at the same token, this has been a theme for them, theme for him in particular, but as I highlighted before, like, he's off to a good start. A better start than he's ever, well, not ever, but a better start than certainly last year. I mean, if you look at his first 10 games last year, that was awful. I mean, he hit 205. His on base was 262. His OPS was 493. In 23, ironically, first 10 games, they were 4-6. Ended up missing, of course, the playoffs by a game. In 2023 was probably his best first 10 games ever as a pro, when he hit 283, 327, 500, 827, 2 home runs and 4 runs driven in. Again, but 4-6, and now they're 3-7. You're seeing a team with injuries starting to mount, and it was going to be a team that could not probably sustain a bunch of these injuries of how they're built, certainly offensively. And now we're seeing it from a pitching standpoint as well. They haven't had a decent start now with Kirby out. You didn't get one there with Hancock. Certainly didn't get there one with Castillo when he filled in. And now if Robles is out, we'll probably wait and see here with what Polanco's going to do. I mean, I don't know with Jorge Polanco. I mean, we're 10 games into the season, and we're probably already talking about him not playing third base anymore because of his surgically repaired knee. But this is what a lot of people talked about in the offseason with him. He had that surgery. Now you're asking him to play a different position. And, well, yeah, I'm not surprised that if he's already this far into the season, which is not many games, that he's already having problems with his knee. Well, yeah, what did you expect? He had major knee surgery, now playing a different position where he's got to put pressure on that knee to make a throw and field the ball. Yeah, it was going to be a problem for him. So his knee's acting up. Will they switch him primarily to a DH? Probably something that they're going to probably have to do with him. No doubt. Let Dylan Moore play over there more. And then you're just going to have to ride it there with Ryan Bliss. First base situation now with Robles being out, probably Luke Raley going out to right field. So now you're talking about Tellez and Solano playing first base. Just not an ideal situation where they're at right now, especially with the injury situation to both. Now, not only Robles, Kirby with your starting pitching, and now with the situation there with Jorge Polanco, who you just can't have nice things, can you, if you're the Mariners? You got Jorge Polanco, who, again, was such a hot topic in the offseason about re-signing him. They didn't do enough. Now they're switching him positions. He comes off, and he's your best hitter to start the season. You're roping balls left and right. I mean, he looks fantastic at the plate. But from a health standpoint, when you look at the infield, his defense, I mean, he's not a great defender anyway. Certainly wasn't a great defender last year at second base, then making the switch, and just, again, the situation with his knee. We talked in the beginning of the season, especially on our preseason show, just about how concerned most people were about that infield defense, and it's real. It just is. Now, Bliss, who I think a lot of people had concerns about, Bliss has actually been fine. But JP's older now. We talked about JP's performance with the scout on Friday. I would encourage, if anyone missed that, go back and watch and listen to the scout's take on JP Crawford. But a guy that, again, is just older, and he might be done, guys. I mean, he might be just done as a player. just in terms of what your expectations of him are there as a player. And then first base, it's just blah. I mean, just all of it. So I hope there's nothing physical. I hope there's nothing season-ending or long-term there for Robles. That'd just be a kick in the gut, man, if he was, because I love everything about Victor Robles. I do. That effort, that play was just an all-timer. That's one of the best catches I've ever seen a Mariner make. The effort level. And I saw some people online, well, it wasn't a smart play. Shouldn't have done that. The guy's trying to make an out and go all out to make something happen, and he did. I mean, what it was, you wanted him to purposely not get the out there so it would keep the runner at first base. I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. Not one bit. He made a great effort. That's what these guys are out there to do. They're out there to get outs. And he threw his body into that net in that play and just made a fantastic play. And it's too bad that he got injured on that. They'll start a series now with the Astros. The Astros come into town. You get Logan Gilbert on the mound tonight. Then Luis Castillo goes tomorrow, the good one. And then Luis Castillo, the bad one, goes on Wednesday. And then you get the Rangers in town. The Rangers are playing great baseball, and their offense hasn't really picked it up yet. And so, yeah, I mean, are we in a pivotal moment right now here for the Mariners? Yeah, I think they are. And I don't think it's too early to panic. But when you look at the gap already, and I know how things quickly can change there in the standings there in baseball. But when you look at where they're at right now, 5 games already back of the Rangers who are playing good baseball. Things could really get out of hand this week if they can't turn it around. If they can't get it going. And if that 5 games now becomes 6 games, 7 games, and 8 games, already with you're not even a month into the season, and that's a lot of, again, ton of time to make it up. But do you have the necessary offense to make a run like that where you're consistently playing, good offense? Well, you don't, and everybody knows that. So, yeah, it's a disappointing start for sure. I think the players, and I think Julio can have one way he views it, and I don't think people should kill him for it, because I think Julio's got to have a different mindset than I think fans have to have a mindset. But I also don't think Dan Wilson sits back and probably necessarily agrees 100% with what Julio said at all. But I think he will also then acknowledge and just say, I understand where his mentality is as a player, because he doesn't want this thing to kind of snowball on him the rest of the season. So hopefully they can get it turned around tonight against the Houston Astros. Logan Gilbert, they got the guy to do it with Logan Gilbert on the mound. But there were moments in that series. It was a frustrating series against the Giants. They hit the ball hard. They did some things nice offensively. Brian Rue yesterday for 3 innings looked great. 4th inning, and then he just gets hit around there a little bit. And Yastrzemski there with the 3-run home run. And it's amazing to watch Brian Wu work a little bit. You watch a guy work who really just throws a fastball the entire time. Like moves it up and down and has different, different speeds to it. But God, the way he can work with just a fastball, and you kind of remind yourself at any level of baseball, that kind of plays all the time. Now, you do need some secondary stuff consistently to keep him off your fastball. But it was, for 3 innings, he looked sharp. Just ran into some trouble there in the 4th inning. Masters Week is here. We've talked about it at the beginning of the show. This is one of the best times of the year for me, and it really should be the best time of the year for many of you. All right? Masters Week, and with Masters Week, that means the Puck the Picker Masters Pool is back open. Or I should say Puck the Picker Majors Pool is back open. We're doing it for a 2nd year, and this year it's even bigger and better. Oh, I almost lost the music. I can't share the screen and play the music at the same time. Well, that's disappointing. I wish I could. If you go to pucksports.com right now, at the top of the webpage, you can see Puck the Picker Majors Pool. You click on that one, says Learn More. Look at the prize package you got. It's a season-long contest. You're going to pick 2 golfers in every major. So this week, you're going to pick 2 golfers. But then, once you pick those 2, they are done. You cannot use them again. Can't use them at the PGA. Can't use them at the U.S. Open. Can't use them at the Open Championship. Are we clear on that one? Once you take 2, they're done. And so, again, we've got 4 opportunities. this month, PGA Championship in May, U.S. Open in June, Open Championship there in July. First place in Puck the Picker Majors pool. One night stay, 2 rounds of golf at Gamble Sands for 2 people. Awesome. Second place is a foursome at Fairwood Golf and Country Club, which you would never be able to play because you're not a member. But now you can with a Puck the Picker Majors pool. Same thing with the third place prize, a foursome at Mill Creek Country Club. Fourth place is at one of Troon's premier Seattle golf courses, so West Seattle, Jackson, or Bill Wright. Bill Wright is formerly Jefferson, for those who don't know, plus a 1-hour Top Tracer range session at Inner Bay Jackson or Bill Wright. Go to pucksports.com, click on the Learn More, and then join now. It will take you there to Sandman Sports, sandmansports.com. And from there, you will register, and then you will be able to join Puck the Picker Majors pool, just like me. See, that's all you got to do. Join the pool. Put in your information and join the pool, and then it will take you to after you've joined the pool, we'll take you to a link to where then you can register your picks right now and get them in before the deadline. I think the deadline, let me double check. Deadline, I think, is Wednesday at midnight, 11:59. Wednesday, 11:59, I believe, is the deadline. So sign up now, pucksports.com, Puck the Picker Majors pool. Again, season-long golf contest, great prize packages. No one's got a better prize package than this. You got 4 opportunities to win. Look at all the golf you get there for Puck the Picker Majors pool. It's awesome. So a big thanks to Troon Golf, a big thanks to Sandman Sports, and also a big thanks because the presenting sponsor of Puck the Picker Majors pool and our golf coverage every week during the majors and our interview series, because on Wednesday we're going to talk to Travis Fulton. Travis is going to be our majors expert for all of them. Travis Fulton, you can follow him on X and Instagram, Travis Fulton Golf, Travis Fulton Golf Studio as well, out of Florida, formerly on the Golf Channel back in the day. Now he's got the Stripe Show pod that you can watch on YouTube, listen to all your podcast platforms. Travis is from here. Travis is from the Seattle area, and now has been living in Florida for a number of years. So he's going to join us on Wednesday to preview the Masters and all of our coverage. They're back. Brought to you by our good friends at Synthetic Turf Northwest. Look at that backyard, huh? That's my backyard, by the way. For those listening, you're like, well, I can't see it. You got to go to the video and watch it later. I mean, that's a damn good-looking backyard that Synthetic Turf Northwest did last year. That putting green, beautiful. Best thing we have ever done was get a brand new synthetic turf lawn in our backyard and then put in a 3-hole putting green. So big thanks to Synthetic Turf Northwest.com, your presenting sponsor here for Puck the Picker Majors Pool and our golf coverage all this summer, and giving you Travis Fulton, our former golf instructor at the Golf Channel, now host of the Stripe Show podcast, and golf instructor, Travis Fulton Golf Studio. Website, TravisFultonGolf.com. Check out his YouTube page. There as well as Travis Fulton Golf. And again, big thanks to Synthetic Turf Northwest. Go visit the website, syntheticturfnorthwest.com. Tired of that muddy backyard? I was tired of my dogs dragging in mud. I was tired, if you live in Seattle, of paying for a water bill. And so I said, enough. He contacted our good friends at Synthetic Turf Northwest and said, let's do it. Let's put it in. And I want a putting green. They do it all. They work fast. They're in and out. I mean, the process, I think it was 10 days. From the moment they ripped up the turf, laid everything down, I think it was 10 days later, I was out there putting. So if you are tired of the mud being dragged in by your dogs, tired of the water bill, you want a clean-looking backyard, you want a putting green, they've got it all at Synthetic Turf Northwest. It's pet-friendly, by the way, as well. They do everything, lawn installation, custom turf installation, and of course, with golf here, they do a golf green installation just like me. That's a beautiful looking backyard. Come on over. Get a few putts in if you'd like before the Masters starts. So our coverage of golf this week and every majors is brought to you by Synthetic Turf Northwest. Visit Synthetic Turf Northwest .com. All right, before we give you an hour-long version of the Sports Pit with myself, Steve Sandmeyer, and Matt Stretch Johnson, former KJR alums, all getting together. New episodes released every Sunday night for Puck's Posse members, and then we give you the free version on Monday. But sign up today at pucksports.com. One last thing to promote, and I'll remind again, probably with Hey, What the Puck, is today is the debut episode of a new podcast that Puck Sports is producing. Yeah, we're in the producer game now. A media empire starting. Groz with Gas Take 5 will debut today, produced by Puck Sports. You can find them on YouTube. Also find them on your favorite podcast platforms. Just search Groz with Gas Take 5. They will be releasing it, recording this morning. And the new episode, first episode, they did a promo one, but the first real episode will come out later this afternoon. So just be on the lookout on the social media platforms for Groz and Gas. I'll tweet it out as well and promote it as well. But the first episode, Groz with Gas, Take 5, produced by Puck Sports, coming out later today. And again, give them a follow on YouTube. Just search Groz with Gas Take 5, and also search Groz with Gas Take 5 on your favorite podcast platforms. All right. There's a lot to get covered there in a half an hour, I'm telling you. And we got the national championship game tonight. I need Florida to win. Florida wins. Actually, I think I win the family pool no matter what. But I really do need Florida to win for other things. But Florida needs to win tonight, and then I win the family pool, and then I get a pick dinner. So, root for Florida tonight. Although my heart, I got money on Florida, but my heart is with Houston because of Kelvin Sampson, because when I was a freshman at WSU was his last year there at WSU. So I think every Cougar's got a special place in their heart there for Kelvin Sampson. All right, let's go. 1 hour, the Sports Pit. Myself, Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson. We talk, I'll be honest with you. If you don't want to have the negativity of the Mariners, this is the show for you. We don't get in. I think we spend 2 minutes on this year's Mariners. You're going to hear some fantastic stories for Steve Sandmeyer, who used to be a Mariners bat boy. I mean, an all-timer and a name from the past who used an obscure name that used to play third base for the New York Yankees. You're going to hear a fantastic story from, I mean, this is really the Sandmeyer show. You're going to hear a great story of a time that Steve and Lou Pinella were just essentially trapped in Lou Pinella's office. And right before game time. We'll talk a lot about the 90s M's and our love for the Kingdome, because that's what episode 3 is titled, The Kingdome. Hope you enjoy it. Episode 3, Sports Pit, with Matt Stretch Johnson and Steve Sandmeyer here on Puck Sports. I don't understand what he did. Like, I'm looking at the play, like, we're talking about Victor Robles, like, did it look like he broke anything?
Watch his glove hand. Watch his glove hand, and it gets pushed up against the net, and it gets pushed behind his head.
So do you think he hyperextended it or something?
He was extended. I don't know. They looked at his shoulder.
It's the Seattle Mariners. Of course he did. Of course he did. Stop it. Stop it. Yes, of course he did. He hurt himself because he's been hitting the ball. And
so
yes,
how long
he
is
did.
he out for?
3 to 6.
I don't know. Is that what they say?
No. He's just saying that he's going to be out for like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I just got back. No, 3 to 6 weeks.
Oh,
I was pretending to be optimistic. But if he's been hitting the ball, right? And he's, his arm strength is getting there.
That did not look good, man.
No.
It's a hell of a play, though, man. That was a hell of an effort, though. That's a top 5 effort, man.
It's one of the best catches I've seen. Man, it was unbelievable. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, man. It did not look good, but you can never tell. Sometimes an injury, it doesn't even look that drastic at all. And then the guy's out for a few months. And then in other cases, it looks like the guy should be dead. And he's like, yeah, he's day to day. So
yeah, but wrists are tough. Yeah, wrists are tough in baseball. You don't come back 100%. You got to swing bat and check swing, and all of a sudden you break some bone in there. It's a horrible, horrible injury.
I felt myself getting choked up for him, man. I mean, like I just got done doing it with it.
I just got done with a shoulder surgery. I had reconstructive shoulder surgery, man. I ripped my rotator completely off and then ripped 3 of the 4 tendons in my shoulder. It's brutal.
We know. We did this podcast with you. We know this.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I've got a memory still. I've got a memory.
I don't. I have no idea what the hell we talked about.
Hey, Puckett, he went golfing today. That's what I was excited for him.
Well,
I can't believe it.
Day.
Yes.
It's a big milestone. When was the last time, Sandmeyer, you picked up a golf club after having the surgery? Can you remember the last time?
September, last fall. Yeah, last fall. And
was I with you over there in West Seattle, or it had to have been after that?
I have an extra 52-degree wedge. Is it yours?
He loves a 52.
Did you lose it? So it was you. God damn it. I have an extra 52-degree wedge in my bag, and I've been texting all my buddies. Like, I may or may not have played my last round of golf in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a 52-degree wedge with your name on it if you're missing one. It's in my bag. I got 2 of them now.
Yeah. So I don't make the list of buddies that you would text, even though we go golfing once every 6 weeks. Yeah.
When was the last time we falled?
Mistake could only get shittier. Sandmeyer, I can't even make Sandmeyer's. Hey, did you fucking leave a wedge list? But whatever. Honestly, yes, I do. I do. Yes, I've lost it. Yes.
It's in my bag.
Awesome.
If you told me we had golfed like in September or last May, I wouldn't know the difference. I didn't know we golfed last fall. I mean, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, I think we did.
And I got an extra wedge for you. I promise you I got an extra wedge.
Okay. That's exciting.
Point, nobody's claimed it, so take it anyway. Who cares?
Well, it's not that nice a club, but I appreciate you keeping on it.
Hey.
Yeah.
How was the round? I mean, what was it like? Did we grip and rip it? How was it? How was it to get back out?
God, I'm too scared to turn it loose. So the swing's all jacked up. I mean, I got a jacked up swing anyway, but like it's super jacked up. It was my first round, and I'm still like, I mean, I really messed my shoulder up badly. Like it was like partial reconstructive stuff. So
should you be golfing? Should you be golfing?
I'm cleared. Yeah, I'm cleared.
Oh, okay.
I'm cleared. You know, I just well, you have to. Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Can I play or can I not? He's like, no. If I was like, yeah, you can swing a club. Yeah, you can hit a ball. Okay. It's not like pain tolerance. It's not like that. It's just like it's so in my head now because I'm not 100% yet. So I'm scared to let it rip. And then because of that, you can't swing a golf club like timid, right? Like but anyways, the first round. So
what if you chunk one? Anyway. Is it your left shoulder or right shoulder?
Yeah, left shoulder. And I'm right-handed, so it's the lead shoulder. It's fine. Ooh. I mean, I can rotate around it and all that stuff. I'm just
so if you chunk one, what if you chunk one and I mean, if you get down there deep, that's not a concern. I'm all nervous. I'm old man nervous, man.
I chunked a bunch of shots today. So I mean, I chunked a bunch of shots today and didn't feel it. So
wow.
How are the cart beers?
Sure
good cart beers? Yeah.
Huh?
Lot of cart beers?
No. A Bodhisattva on the front and a Miller Lite on the back.
Solid work. Solid.
And 3 oxycodone at the turn.
No.
But hey, whatever.
Sprinkled on top of the hot dog.
Yeah. Chop them up. Chop them up.
Oh my God.
Put a little ketchup on that.
Oxys are brutal.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Not to change the subject. So injuries and things. Were you there, Sandmeyer, and they always said Spider-Man? I couldn't stand it when Griffey, when he flew against the wall, and it did look like Spider-Man, but I was there for that one. It was like, oh my God, get the golf cart for this poor bastard. I mean, that was an ugly one.
I think they put like a plate in his wrist when he broke it after that. Like,
that sounds about right.
He messed it up big time. Mm-hmm. I remember that. And that was his glove hand too, I think, when he made that catch. And it was in left center field.
Yeah.
Those sky blue padded walls in the Kingdome.
Beautiful.
I think they were probably like 7 games under 500, and he risked a Hall of Fame career for a meaningless game. Yeah, against Sparky Anderson and the Detroit Tigers.
God, look at your recall. Jesus.
I'm totally making that up. I have no idea who they played.
Yeah, I think Sparky was gone by then. I remember 84. The Tigers came to town 25-4, and the Mariners swept them 4 games, a 4-game sweep, and I was at 2 of them. And people brought brooms. I mean, it was a big deal because 84, obviously the Tigers go on to win it. They beat the Padres in the World Series, but the Mariners, I mean, that was a big deal, that 4-game sweep. Big deal. Were you a bat boy in '84? How long? I don't know your career.
No, God, I was a bat boy late '80s, early '90s.
For how long
Oh,
again?
okay.
For people that don't know, how long did you do it?
I did it in high school for 3 of the 4 years, and I got hired and fired 4 times in 3 years.
Why did you get fired? Yeah, we got to know. Yeah.
The first time I got fired, I had a guy reach over the dugout wall, like the roof. It was at the end of the game. And at the end of the game, you're putting all the bats, you take them out of the rack, and you put them in this giant cage with wheels, and you take it back into the clubhouse, and you put all the bats back in the players' lockers. So there was a giant, this is back before collectibles went bananas and where the memorabilia industry went bananas. And the cracked bats were in this giant trash can next to the bat rack. So some dude goes, hey, grab that Dave Winfield cracked bat out of the trash. Here's $100 for it.
Oh,
I'm a 15-year-old kid. Some guy goes, hey, I'll give you $100 for something that's in the trash. I'm like, sweet.
yeah. What's wrong with this? Yeah.
Grab it, give it to him. Cash came down. I went about my day, bragging to my friends the next day, get called into the office. Hey, we got to let you go. We can't do that. That's against policy. And people saw cash coming down from the stands into the dugout. Bye.
Oh,
That was it.
oh.
That was it. Yeah. Second time, I think.
How'd you get hired back? I want to know, like, hey, listen, are you free next Tuesday night?
Yeah. Well, no, this was the next season, and this is going to come as a huge shock. They really didn't have their shit together. And they were like, hey, we need some more clubbies. Can you come back? I'm like, yeah, sure. Sweet. Let's go. Third time, I think, was my senior year in high school. And I think I was taking too many vacations during the summer or something. I don't know. Like, it's just, but back then, there was a story about this. Like, they had some like labor laws come down in this because they used to pay us $20 a night and you'd work like an 8-hour shift. Like, you'd get there at 3:00 for the 7:00 game or 7:30 game. You wouldn't get out of there till 11:30.
Oh.
And you'd get paid $20 a night. And obviously we would do it for free, right? I'm hanging out with Cal Ripken Jr. and George Brett. Like, I would have paid $20, right? Paid more. But like, that's what teams did. And the Mariners weren't the only team that did it. But at the time, they'd only pay you $20 for like 8 hours of work. And so now I guess they get paid an hourly wage or whatever. I'm not sure, but that's how it went down. So like I got that job because in like the eighth grade, a buddy and he invited me down to, at the time they were in Stretch. Remember Tempe Diablo Stadium when the M's would do their spring training in Tempe?
Absolutely.
So this is before, there's a lot of people right now are like, what the hell's that? But believe me, before Peoria, there was Tempe, Arizona, and it was Tempe Diablo Stadium. And then they would pick the bat boys out of the crowd before the game. And I'm just in t-shirt and shorts with my buddy. I went on his family vacation with him. He's like, you want to invite a friend? Sure. So he invites me. They go, hey, you guys want to be bat boys? And it was in the Mariner dugout. And we're like, sure. Awesome. This is the best ever. And we're sitting in the dugout freaking out because like there's Alvin Davis. There's Mark Langston.
Yeah.
Right?
Harold Reynolds probably. Yeah.
Yep. And we are just like, oh my God. And he goes, hey, we can't pay you. And we're like, who cares? And he goes, but you can keep any cracked bats. That happened. That
bring him back on the plane. Just
whatever it took.
Yeah.
And so we did rock, scissors, paper. I win. I get the first cracked bat. It was some minor leaguer named Martinez. The first bat I ever got was Edgar Martinez as a minor leaguer. I still have it.
Wow.
And like, we're like, yeah, whatever. And this is when Jim Presley was still at third and the organization was like letting Edgar hit 360 every year at Calgary. Remember
Calgary
Cannons? Yes.
Yeah.
And so like they wasted, he obviously is a Hall of Famer, but like think of what could have been if they actually had Gar in the show for those like 3 or 4 years where he was ready, right? They had Jim Presley and they were having like Edgar sit down and hit 350, 360 in AAA for no reason. So I got his bat. It's the very first bat that I got. Then, like, during the game, and at the time I didn't know it, right? It was some minor leaguer, right? And Martinez, oh, that's kind of cool, you know? During the game, he goes, hey, are you guys from around the area, from the, you know, Phoenix and Tempe area? And I go, no, we're actually from Seattle. We're on vacation. And he goes, great, that's really cool. Hey, I'm the visiting clubhouse manager in Seattle. And we're like, oh, that's great. He goes, I've got a couple spots open. Would you be interested in working in the visiting clubhouse in Seattle during the regular season?
Holy shit.
And we're like,
well, I'm really I'm a homework kind of kid. I'm really thinking about getting A's and B's.
Oh, believe me, Dick Sandmeyer, my dad at the time, you know, dad at the time, he's still my dad. He's 86. My dad at the time.
Yeah.
What the hell?
At the time, your father said, yeah.
He was the first to drive me there. He was like warding off mom. And don't worry about the homework. You can do it in the clubhouse. Just, you know, we got the Yankees in town, you know.
Dad was probably more excited than you, for God's sake.
Because the guy goes, yeah, you guys are what, 15, 16? We were like 14.
Oh.
So we kind of lowered our voice. We're like, 15, we're going to be 16 soon, you know, puffing our chest out because we were worried he wasn't going to hire us because we were too young.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, it's like the second game of the season in the Kingdome, and I'm in the road Oakland A's unis. Remember those all grays with the Oakland cursive?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just at the start of McGuire and Canseco and the Bash brothers. It was the wildest thing ever. And then I ended up doing that for 3 of the 4 years of high school and getting fired 3 times. And
I was going to say, inside and outside of getting let go, you were the Billy Martin of clubhouse kids.
Yeah,
100%. Great.
That's awesome.
Is a perfect characterization. I was Larry Brown in the NBA as a bat boy.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding.
Did the players tip you like at the end of the year, or would they tip you like after the game, like after every game?
Well, he was visiting, so yeah. At the end of the series,
if you did them a favor, they would tip you automatically. Like some guy goes, "Hey, I love this gumbo place down there on 3rd and Jackson. Can you cruise down there and get me ABC?" Sure.
Yes, sir.
And
absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And like it cost me like $19, whatever. And he's like, how much? And almost $19. He just give me 100, you know, like, and he's like, keep it. I mean, and this is like late 80s. I don't care. $100 is a lot now. But like in the late 80s, you're like, I mean, the tips were real. But some players would tip more than others. And then like there was one of my bosses ended up, I think, getting busted because he would keep our tips. So you'd have 5 guys working in the clubhouse. Only one would be the bat boy. The other 4 would be like, whatever, peeling potatoes and making the post-game spread or like doing laundry from the batting practice jerseys and all that stuff. And at the end of the series, a lot of the players would go to the clubhouse manager and be like, hey, give this to the fellas. And he'd give them like $500 cash. None of this was documented. There's probably not a single clubhouse manager in Major League Baseball that paid a single tax dollar on anything until like the year probably 1998, right? And he would say, yeah, I'll give it to the fellas, and he'd throw it in his pocket. But yeah, no, it was wild. It was absolutely wild. Like I was 14, 15, 16, 17, like that formidable kind of time in your life. And I was hanging out with like George Brett and Cal Ripken and Canseco and McGuire and all those guys in the American League. And it's funny you mentioned the Tiger stretch because the 2 best teams to like hang with were the Detroit Tigers and the Minnesota Twins. And it was right at the tail end of the Tigers run. They were still a good team. They were still a playoff team with Trammell and Whitaker up the middle. And they were so fun. And then they had Cecil Fielder and like they were a super fun team. Yep, they were so freaking fun. And then the Minnesota Twins, because they were awesome from like 87 to 91. They won it in 87. They won it again in 91. And they had that little run. So it was like Herbie Puckett, Kent Herbeck, Gary Gaetti, Al Newman, all those guys. And they were awesome. They were so fun. And some teams were just terrible. Like we'd have a lottery on who, you know, because you can't have the same guy wear the bat boy uniforms. We'd have like a draft before every homestand. And it'd be like Tuesday night against Cleveland. Oh, it was like always the last pick. You know, Friday night against the Yankees, of course, was the number 1 pick, right? Yeah. Everyone wanted to be there with 50,000 people because that's when the only time people went to games. Stretch, you remember it was like when the Yankees came to town.
Absolutely. And it'd be a lot of Yankee fans, but still the Kingdome, it was alive. Would you run up to a restaurant, or would you have someone else? I mean, would you just jet and just go flying up First Avenue to wherever, or Jackson?
They used to let you park inside the Kingdome.
Yes.
Like there's all these, like, it's so bizarre to explain this to like, there were like the bowels of the Kingdome had like roadways and like parking spots and all sorts of weird stuff. So you'd park there and then you'd go out the security gate, give the guy a little wave, and he'd open the chain link fence on the wheels, right? And then you'd just cruise out there. And one time, this guy, I don't know if people remember him. He played third base for the Yankees. I think you guys will. I'm just curious whether your viewers or listeners will. You know the name Mike Pagliarulo, Pags, third baseman for the Yankees.
Absolutely.
I remember.
Lou Pinella was the manager in New York for like 10 minutes, whatever it was, however long it was, right? So he chipped a tooth or something during batting practice. And my boss comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you got to take Pagliarulo to this dentist on Capitol Hill now. It's the only one that can see him. Go." And like the game was 7:35, right? So we cruise, and I'm in a Nissan Sentra hatchback, right, with the third baseman of the Yankees.
And are you in a Yankees uniform yourself, or
no, I wasn't.
Not yet.
This is like, not yet. This is like probably like 5 o'clock. This is like 5 o'clock. Game to 7:30, right?
When you started, you said you were 14, though. Are you 16 at this point?
Yeah. So this is 2 years in.
13 and a half. He's 13 and a half with his driver's permit.
That's what I'm saying. He's just driving with
no. This wasn't year one. This is a couple years ago.
Okay.
And so we get to the dentist, and he gets the emergency crown on his tooth or whatever it was, right? So remember, it's the Yankees, and we talked about the crowds. So we get back, and it's getting really close to game time. So there's traffic. And I'm like, I had just gotten my license, right?
He's like, I got to jump. I got to go.
So he's like, "Hey, just go around this way." And I'm like, I can't go in the opposite lane, like, and he's like, just I'll tell him, just go. And I started driving like through the Kingdome Park, and security people are running after me. Hey, on their little walkie-talkies and stuff, screaming. And so I got, where the old kind of ticket booths were for the walk up, and you'd buy your general admission ticket and then kind of go into like the 100 level and start going up. I'm on the inside of that between the Kingdome and the ticket booth, and there's people, and I'm like weaving in and out of people, and I've got like 30. I got a couple Seattle police men running after me,
and they don't recognize. They're not going to recognize Mike Pagliarulo.
So he's like, "Just take me right to the door. We gotta go. And I'm like, it's like a hostage situation, right? And I'm just like, oh my god. We get to the entrance, right? And I'm like, oh my god. And like people surround it, and I'm ready for Pags to come out and be like, hey, it's okay. Here's who I am. Here's what's going on. He goes, "Thanks, buddy," slams the door and runs in with no explanation.
That's how you got fired the third time.
It's like the OJ chase, and I'm like, I'm done, right? And I had to explain it, and they made me wait there and sit on a curb. They didn't cuff me, but they had me sit on a curb and wait until my boss came out and say, no, that's the guy. He was taking a player in here. I was like detained for like 20 minutes. Sorry about that. You guys are not going to get those 10 minutes back.
That's that was an all-timer. I mean,
that is
a
great
story.
Because it's not like Winfield or Guidry, or they're going to recognize him. Like, holy shit! Can we get a picture and an autograph? They're like, "Who the hell are you? You're with the popcorn guy. The popcorn guy's late." Oh shoot! I just lost my train of thought. I was just thinking about.
Maybe we'll pick it back up. Here's what I was thinking. We have two beautiful stadiums, but do you miss it? I miss it. I miss the Kingdome so much.
I do.
I love that place, man.
I do. I mean, it was our childhood, right? I mean, I miss it. I miss a lot of that.
Just walking around all the way up to a 300 level. I miss during football games when everyone would go outside to smoke. I miss the tailgating underneath the viaduct when you could park underneath the viaduct and tailgate in there.
That was the best because people didn't know, especially for a Mariner game with 12,000 people. You parked right next to the stadium under the viaduct for free, and then you'd walk in 103. We would just walk in 103. We buy a left field seat. And then we all knew, just walk in like you own the place. And we would all, just like 4 of us, not like 8, 10 of us. And we'd walk right behind the plate and we'd go back to row 34 and we'd sit there. And then eventually the ushers, you'd maybe have to give an usher a $10 bill or whatever you had to do. Right. But yeah, it was all about the other team also, right? It was about Mattingly coming to town or the Orioles coming to town, because really there was a purgatory until Lou Pinella, really, that you were just watching. Ken Singleton. Ken Singleton wore the Mariners out. Yes, and I said that to somebody, and they're like, who's Ken Singleton? I said, well, he's around Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray was all the news. Ken Singleton wore the wall out at the Kingdome. I totally missed the Kingdome. And people were like, it was so shitty. It was like, no,
it was our shitty. It was just,
you take the bus from, the bathrooms, like it was a trough, and if you got in the wrong bathroom and it wasn't draining, and back in the day when you could smoke in the bathroom, it was, not only was the smoke so low, you're choked out, you stunk like shit when you left there, but then the pee, it was like the Puyallup Fair, it was just like, it's just, I don't know, but it was our shitty. But you could take the bus. And again, my parents, I don't know what the hell my parents were thinking. We were 13 years old taking the bus from Shoreline. We'd get the bus and you take the 301 or the 305 or the 6, and you get dropped right off at 5th and Jackson. And I guess we'd have tickets, and you just walk right in and we'd be home by 10:30, and there was no questions asked. That, why are you taking a big gulp? Why do you need a big gulp with you? No, there's no reason. No reason. Yeah,
why not? Where was the secret speakeasy bar? Was it like on the 300
level? It was
level?
On the 300 level, and it had the little olive in the martini glass. Remember that little lounge?
Yeah. Okay.
So do you remember? Everyone remembers, at least the ones who have been in the Kingdome. They'd have, you'd be in the aisleways, not in the aisleways, in the the causeways behind where all the seats were, and they'd have a giant white plastic sign with a red number, section 316, 317, and one of them had a martini glass with a little olive in it, and that was the little sign right outside the lounge there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know. I know.
It was like the only one there, I think, too.
Yeah.
It was like a little big lounge area.
But it was small, wasn't it? It was it wasn't like a closet.
It was upstairs in the third deck. This is swear to God, the very first time I've ever, not to sound like a snob, we all did our stuff in the first deck.
Somebody out there knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I know.
But it wasn't the press box lounge. There was a lounge next to the press box on the second deck that we tried to sneak into a couple times.
This was like, it was like a speakeasy. You almost didn't really know it was there. And then it was there. You'd open it up and you're like, the fuck, it's a bar. Like, it was crazy. It was just, wow. It was a very unique Kingdome. We used to have a guy for Seahawks tickets. We had tickets at the 35-yard line, 300 level, probably halfway up. And there was a guy who was a Raiders fan. So at that time, they're playing in L.A. So he was a Raiders fan, but he didn't want, he's like, well, can't go down there, so I'm just going to buy tickets to the Seahawks so I can watch them play once a year up here. And he was like a Hell's Angels guy, and he would sit there and chain smoke during the game. And I used to think to myself, I don't think you can smoke in here, but no one would say anything to him. Like, there was no rules in that place.
Not really.
I think you could do anything you'd want in the Kingdome.
Do you remember at 8 minutes left in the game, they'd have the pumpkin. They'd have all the pumpkin people with their orange jackets as security, and they'd all start coming out there, and it was like, you guys can't do shit. That guy should be using a walker. There was that was kind of like the big security thing, the presence, or out in left field, you weren't supposed to go over this one little fence, right? Because that's where the money boundary was, and we would just be like, all right, he's not looking. Go one at a time. It was like we were running in a bush.
And eventually they would get a giant yellow rope and pull it tight.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
People are going under the rope.
Yes, that was really difficult.
How they did it.
For us, we snuck into movies at Aurora Village every weekend. It was like, this is your security as a rope for us. That doesn't work.
When did they get rid of the boat from the bullpen? When was the last year?
Early 80s. That wasn't around.
When Bill Cottle finally said he wouldn't ride it.
There were two boats. there was the bullpen boat, and then for a little while in the early 80s, there was the USS Mariner behind left center field that came up and shot the cannon every time they went yard.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the boat on the field?
The bullpen
boat.
Yeah,
that was like probably late 70s, early 80s. Didn't last too long.
I only seen it.
No, the players. There was one game. I was at the game that the boat goes to pick up. Who knows, Ed Vandenberg or I don't know if it's Cottle or who it was, and he wouldn't get in it. He walked next to it, and so there was an issue with this looks pretty dicky, and so that didn't. The players hated that thing. Hated it.
Fucking Kingdome.
Yeah, that was a good market. That was before Kevin Martinez. That was before his brilliant, before his marketing.
I say bring the USS Mariner back, just shooting off a fucking cannon every time they hit home run.
I loved it so the cannon was when it was going yard, but I did dig it when Niehaus would get the bell for how many runs would score. The bell, and if it was a big inning, man, people got behind that and started like, yeah. So he would reach out. He would reach out, and I don't even know if the radio had gone to a break, but for the fans sitting in that concrete mushroom, he would just start whacking the bell for every run that was scored. And I liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah,
I love that too. That was fun.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool things there.
There was. I mean,
for shitty baseball. I mean, really.
Yes.
Bill Plummer. I think we talked about this last week or the week before. I mean, Maury Wills, Bill Plummer. You can all name the managers that shouldn't have been there. I mean, or look at those. Look at the stats on that. Glenn Abbott is your ace, or Diego Segui, or so on.
Who is your
forth.
favorite shitty obscure player? Mine's Pete O'Brien.
How in the hell do you answer that? I mean, where do you start? The Mariners are full of them. That's impossible.
Pete O'Brien was my favorite. Favorite obscure shit player.
Well, that's funny because I thought of him after we did our podcast last week, and I brought up George Argyris, where people are being signed, and then Pete O'Brien came to my mind because that was the big free agent signing. Yeah, put his ass on first base for 3 years. I mean, that was a big thing. And what did he hit? 252?
He was a career for the Mariners. 237. 237 in 4 years with 43 home runs, and he drove in 194 runs.
This is before I know, Jason. This is before your time.
Because he was a big free agent. I remember when they got him. This was it was such a big deal. Oh, Pete O'Brien's gonna make this. Oh my! You wait till we get Pete O'Brien, and then he had those big fucking glasses. Yeah, it's just like the accountant glasses, CPA glasses, and I don't know why. Yeah.
Dan Meyer, I always dug Dan Meyer. Dan Meyer is, but Bruce Bochy was one that could actually hit. He was in the 79 All-Star game. But a dude named Bill Stein at third base. Bill Stein did this little loop-de-loo with his foot before every pitch. And my dad would son, look at that. Look at how he gets ready. And I'm like, that's past weird. I mean, it was like OCD freakish. Bill Stein at third base. I think he was 78, 79, but that's, you're going into the 80s and there was no one there. So you got a good seat. We would have good seats to, again, great opposing teams that would come in and just rock. I mean, they came in and just swept. If they didn't take 2 or 3, they're pissed. It was bizarro land.
Hey, and they're still, to this day, Sam, still letting us down. Still letting us down.
Well, what's new? I mean, different. The sun, rises in the east and sets in the west, and the M's are. I mean, what else do you want me to say?
Oh, I don't. Since we've
not a World Series appearance. Not to get into this weekend or the last 16. Not a World Series appearance. Think about that. Not a world. None of us have seen a World Series game for our team. That's crazy. That's crazy.
How many times I think about that team, just especially with that organization at one time, you think about the talent that they had on that team. You think of when it's Griffey and A-Rod and Edgar all on the same team.
Tino,
Randy Johnson. It's just like, God, how many teams have that much talent and don't make it to the World Series?
How about Hall of Famers?
At one point, they had the greatest at each position ever. I mean, now,
at least
in modern day, it was Ken Griffey Jr. at center fielder. Randy Johnson's the greatest left-handed pitcher ever. Sorry. Yeah. It's Nolan Ryan and then Randy Johnson in strikeouts. All apologies to Steve Carlton. right? They had statistically the greatest shortstop ever in Alex Rodriguez. I mean, they had the greatest DH ever, Edgar Martinez. Like, they had 4 of the best all-time players at their position. Now, center field, Willie Mays, Duke Schneider. You can go on and on, but like, of that era, and maybe even multiple generations, they had 4 of the best players of all time at DH, at shortstop, at center field, and at starting pitcher.
Well, and then
on the same team, and couldn't do anything with it.
No, and then you mix in the group that was around him, because as much as I'm not a big Jay Buhner fan, his his 3, 4, 5 years, I mean, they had a supporting cast that should have done more with what they all, to your point. I mean, when you've got that at Griffey, Edgar, Buhner, and the rest, A-Rod, Joey Cora actually hit. I mean, he wasn't 220 the whole time.
I saw one of the biggest arguments 2 major leaguers have ever had in my life when they moved into Safeco, and Griffey and A-Rod were this far apart, screaming at each other. And it was because Griffey wanted the cut of the grass to be lower, because he was used to getting those carpet singles when he did put the ball on the ground. He'd pull that ball to the right side. Griffey wouldn't get a single through the hole. Mm-hmm. And A-Rod was the shortstop, and he wanted the cut to be a little bit longer to kill the ground balls. And these guys were, F you, no F you, no F you. I swear to God, I bet you Griffey and A-Rod's noses touched. It was wild. And it was out in Safeco Field at the time, T-Mobile. By the way, new rule that I'm just instituting now. If you were around at the start of a stadium when it was originally named that, you get to call it that. Like, I'm going to call it Safeco Field forever.
I always call it Safeco.
When it was safe. Like, I'm so
never
tired.
Call it T-Mobile.
You're allowed to call it Safeco Field, and I'm going to call it Safeco Field because
so we can do Quest Field, because I can't keep up with Lumen. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay,
absolutely,
thank you.
Absolutely. But
their nose over the cut of the grass. That's hysterical.
I'm telling you, it was when they opened it in 1999, and they were screaming at each other. And I was like, oh my God, those are 2 future Hall of Famers that are ready to kill each other.
That's great. I think that's the earliest I ever got to a ballpark was day 1 there. That was like, I would have slept over and just been down there and been, just thrown away the sleeping bag. I think that was the earliest I'd ever been to a ballpark. We were just down there, I don't know, 5-6 hours early.
Wow. When it opened up.
Oh, God, that was just so special. I mean, that was like,
went to the Triangle.
Oh, yes. You and I were probably there together.
Tavern.
Yep. We have a park. Yeah. I mean, that was incredible afternoon.
Yeah. So I just pulled
Padres up. and Jose Mesa blew the save. Remember, Jose Mesa ruined it.
Yeah, I don't remember that part because I was. It was
1996. I just wanted to refresh my memory. 96.
No, July 15th, 1999 is when the state.
But I'm pulling up the 96 season. Start looking at the 96 season. 85 and 76. That team was. That had Alex Rodriguez
fell
at
short.
20 years old. 358. He hit 36 home runs, 123 runs driven in. The guy had 54 doubles that year. Ken Griffey, 303, 49, and 140. Buhner, 271, 44, and 138. Edgar, what did Edgar have? 327, 26, and 103. Who else had a good year that year? Dan Wilson popped in at 285, 18, and 83.
Mark McLemore?
No, he was later.
He was not on that team. How about your first baseman Paul Sorrento giving you 289, 23, and 93?
So do you remember that because Griffey and A-Rod had such monster seasons, Juan Gonzalez of the Rangers won the MVP, and there was a lot of talk that they split the votes because a lot of people voted Griffey and a lot of people voted A-Rod. And neither of them ended up making enough headway I mean, I'm sure Juan Gone and his, he was all roided up like half of the league was in 1996 anyway. And I'm sure he had the numbers. I'll look him up. But that was the theory, or at least that was the chatter at the time, that Griffey and A-Rod were so good the same year on the same team that it totally split the votes between them.
What was the year that Woody Woodward wouldn't give up Ryan Anderson and another couple? They were going after Juan Gonzalez.
Wasn't that 01?
Woody Woodward wouldn't give up Ryan Anderson, whose elbow or shoulder blew up, or he punched a wall, or something about a dartboard or something at a bar.
Well, Woody's greatest achievement, of course, was Derek Lowe and Jason Varitek for Heathcliff Slocum. Pat Gillick was there in 2000? What was Woody's last year there? Gillick came on, I want to say
98, 99.
Hold on. Woodward's last year was 99.
Yeah. Because in 97, that was the Heathcliff Slocum and Jason Varitek and Derek Lowe deal. Mm-hmm. Because I remember going to a game in Milwaukee at the old county stadium, and Rob Ducey was like,
Rob Ducey.
There you go.
Ducey. I'm done. I'm out. Mic drop with Rob Ducey.
Yeah, episode. And then they traded They traded Jose Cruz Jr.
to Toronto.
The Jays for like Paul Spoljaric. Remember that name?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was covering the team, and I asked Lou after Spoljaric blew something, and Lou looked at me, and actually he didn't look at me, and he goes, "Sir," and I went, "Holy shit, here we go, and I started sweating, and the next day Lou Pinella is behind. I'm behind the batting cage, and Lou Pinella comes up to me and goes, "So you're a positive one, huh?" And I was like, "All right, okay." But Paul Spoljaric, he walked out, right? He walked out a couple times and said, "Just throw a fucking strike." He couldn't get the first ball over.
Yeah.
I loved that man. He was so good. And by the way, and you guys know this, people never got to see the true Lou Pinella, because that whole thing with and he talks really slowly. It's all an act. You get him off the record, he will speak very quickly in complete sentences. It is nothing like what you saw on camera. He's fluent in Spanish. He was talking to his players that spoke Spanish. You want a trip. Think of Lou Pinella's voice, throwing down his second parliament in the last 10 minutes, and he's ripping off the fluent Spanish talking to one of his hitters. He and he would always be great off the record. You'd have these you'd have the beat writers there that are there every day, or people like Stretch or me or whoever that are covering the team and all that stuff. And before you'd have the actual daily, roundabout with the reporters, he would do an off the record thing, and you can ask him a lot of stuff that this is back then when things would stay off the record.
Yeah,
right. He would have an on the record answer and an off the record answer.
Yeah,
and nobody broke that band, and it was a complete trust. We would know that this ankle injury ain't getting, it's not getting any better, and they might have surgery, but we couldn't report on it because they specifically said keep this off the record. It was a totally different time back then.
Yeah.
But anyway, he would talk off the record and say the funniest stuff and have the best stories ever. And he was very quick-witted. There was no, that whole stuff was all on camera. It was wild watching him. I thought I was going to get fired for the millionth time. When I was doing the same thing Stretch was, and this is in the early 2000s when they were on that roll. And he and I started talking about fishing. Just BSing about fishing right before the game. And the rule is you're not supposed to be in the clubhouse if you're a reporter an hour before first pitch. All reporters need to get the hell out of the clubhouse and the manager's room, whichever it is. My mother catches wind of this story. They got their own smoked salmon that they can themselves and everything. And she goes, "Give this to Lou." And I'm like, "Mom, I'm not going to give. He's going to think I'm some whack job, trying to give it." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Give it to Lou." She was serious. I tell him the whole story. I go, "This is canned salmon that we caught off, the whole story of where we caught it from and what the deal is with the Salmon Islands and all that other stuff." he has the clubhouse attendant go get a can opener, and it was like cream cheese and saltines and the smoked salmon that my mom delivered. And I wish, I mean, that's one of the things where you really did wish you had one of these, just so I could have taken a picture of it and sent it to mom, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so we start BSing, right? It's getting closer to first pitch. And I'm like, I got to go. He's like, no. Don't worry about it. No more. He's telling stories about how he fishes in 3 feet of water in Tampa sometimes and how he chums when he goes to the deeper water. And he's asking me about saltwater fishing. And he and I are just going back and forth talking about fishing. Well, now it's a half an hour before the game. And I go, we call him Skip or, you know, whatever. People call him different names, the manager, different names. I'm like, Skip, I got to go. I got to get out of here. I'm going to get in trouble. He goes, no. And he's like, and he goes, and you know what else? And he's just going on about fishing. Could not care less. The lineup card had already been turned. The national anthem is playing now. And I can hear it in the background. I'm like, oh my God. And like, a couple guys come in, like Tim Hevley and a few other come in, they're poking the thing. And he's glaring at me. Like, what the hell are you doing in here, Sandmeyer? Like, and Pinella's waving him off. And like the game is about to start. And I finally go, I said, we. So I look at Lou and I go, we got to go. And he goes, okay. Snuffs out his smoke and just kind of trots out into the dugout. And I swear to God, first pitch was like 40 seconds later. It was unbelievable.
If it was Dave Oust, you would have got kicked out of there.
100%.
Dave Oust wouldn't take that shit. He was the traveling press secretary, right? Or what was he? What was his? No, he was PR. He was the head of PR before Heavily. Yeah. Before so Tim. And Tim was much more mellow.
So did Tim Hevley give you? Tim Hevley, by the way, audience is still the PR head PR person for the Mariners. Did you get a talking to by Tim Hevley?
No, because I think he understood that Lou was like, no, we're good. Yeah. But I mean, I may have gotten a glare or two. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been that long, but I will never forget that. I mean,
he's not going to say anything. Yeah. He's not going to say anything to Pinella. Like,
my hands are sweating, right? My hands are sweating. Yeah. I'm like, and I finally go, we got to go. We got to go.
Oh my God.
Yeah. One of my favorites is when we walked in post game and he said, any TV? And nobody said anything. And he looked at Hevley. He said, any TV? No. Out comes the smoke and the Coors Light. And he had the drawer, you know, he's got the drawer here and the Coors Light comes out and the smoke. And, you know, you didn't talk about it. It was just understood that was nothing. It was just, all right, now talk about the game, especially after a win when it was more relaxing.
A better time.
And the cool thing about
yes.
What Stretch is talking about is like, there was this unspoken thing with Lou in the media, and he would do that. He'd pull out a Coors Light out of his drawer and you know, rip into a heater, and he'd sit back and he'd unbutton his starter jacket and he'd glance up and there'd be like a, you know, whatever, a highlight of a divisional game and the TV in the corner there, and he'd kind of look up, take a couple drags from his heater, right? And then he would like lean back and sometimes we'd wait like, you know, 3 or 4 minutes, which doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you're standing there, it's like, okay.
Small office, yes, it's a long time.
He'd snuff out his cigarette. He'd take the Coors Light. This is a Spindrift, by the way, orange flavor, delicious.
Yeah, I love it.
He would set the Coors Light down, right? Button his like, you know, top buttons of his jersey back up and the starter jacket, and kind of pull it up, sit up in his seat, and then he'd be like, okay, and then all the lights would go on one after the other. Just light up like a TV studio. And then we'd start going.
And Larry LaRue would still have the first question.
Of course.
Larry LaRue would have the first question. When Larry was ready.
And one time, a reporter who I will not name tried to break the ice and goes, and they had just swept the Twins. And this was in like 2001 when they could not freaking lose, right? And said something to the effect like, God, it'd be nice to play the Twins every series. Something like that, just to try. And he stops and he looks at all of us down the line, right? And then he goes, what the fuck? And we are peeing our pants. Like we're right in front of her and we didn't want to say anything, but like we're a car that wouldn't turn over. We're kind of like holding our laughter in. We're like, oh, he was the best. I miss Lou Pinella, that guy. Wow. And oh my God. And he gave 0 Fs. I mean, that guy he lit into me a couple times, and that's just part of it. And he's son, you know, it's just a little little uptight the other day. Like he'd always come back the next day. I'm like, whatever.
Always would talk to you or talk to me the next day. I'm sure you were in there more often, but yeah, you would, if he addressed you as sir or son, you shit your pants, because that's when I was soaking wet, absolutely soaking wet. And he said, sir, and I'm thinking, sir, in 1996, I was probably 150 pounds.
Yeah,
and I looked like I was 15.
And you're right. Sir or son, you were dead. You were
meat.
Dead.
And it was about Paul Spoljaric because he just shit the bed in the 7th, blew the game. And I think the 8th and 9th, 8th or 9th worked out, but it was I asked some positive question and he just lit me up. Neil Scott was there. Neil tried to kind of look at me like, yeah. And Neil said afterwards,
Neil Scott is still there.
Yeah.
God.
Neil was like, yeah, don't try to find the pros pro.
Still there.
Yeah, that's
it's sad in a way. Just like it's sad in a way because like that relationship between players, manager, media, it just no longer exists. It just doesn't.
Well,
it almost can't. It can't exist.
No,
anymore.
it can't.
No one trusts anybody. Certainly the coaches and the managers. They're like, nope. Because nothing I say, if I even tell you off record, someone will leak it now. Can't have that anymore.
Yeah, it's got to be a special beat writer who's been there before the advent of social media, before everything.
Is there anyone? There's probably no one.
No,
left
probably not. But there. I mean, the last beat writers. I mean, God bless John Clayton, but I saw John Clayton do shit that. I mean, he sat in Owen's locker for San Francisco when he had a big night in Seattle. And John Clayton could get away with whatever he wanted. Didn't matter. And I mean, I guess he was exempt to social media because John's already been gone 3 years. I think 3 years it is. That is wild. But I mean, there were guys, Larry LaRue. I mean, I bring up Larry LaRue because he was those grinders. There was a couple guys at Safeco that were those grinders that were there day in and day out.
Jim Street on the PI, he was there.
That's exactly right.
MLB.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
God,
So,
and remember
Hickey PI.
Remember Bob Finnegan?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. That guy, what an asshole.
Jim Coor of the AP.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Listen, I know the game didn't go your way, but do you second guess your decision back when you were Did you second guess your decision of pulling that guy?
You know who loved Jim Coor more than anybody was Mike Cameron. Fucking Mike Cameron loved him.
Really?
He would because then he remember he had that voice and he could barely talk above a whisper and all that, and then he'd try to ask a question and then he couldn't hear, and then fucking Cameron would make everybody stop. Get Jim, come up here. What do you want?
The music was loud. The music was loud in that small locker room.
Yeah. He loved it.
One of my favorite. I didn't know David Segui had a temper. David Segui, I watched him go off on a few people. He could play first base. He was a decent glove on first.
He and Randy squared off over music. Actually, there's a little locker room scuffle between
that's
Segui
right.
and Randy.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Randy Johnson growled. Randy Johnson growled at Rayleigh. Remember Rayleigh, the PI? Dan Rayleigh. He growled at him. He had chicken pregame, wasn't pitching, nothing. I was there. I was there firsthand. And Rayleigh, how do you pronounce his name? Dan Rayleigh. And Dan Rayleigh kind of stops, and Randy was weirdo. He looks up and he goes, and Rayleigh said, "Are you growling?" And he was growling at him, and I'm like, "Fucking ball players, whatever, whatever." Yeah,
all of them.
Great. Yeah, but those are.
Who did you not like talking to? Because every clubhouse always have.
We don't have enough time.
Yeah, who cares? I despise Jay Buhner.
Sure.
Jay Buhner was typical when the cameras were off. He was a dick. Now, again, I always say this. I was just a dude with a microphone. So who am I? Sure. But I thought, man, you could be so much nicer because that question I asked was not that tough. and it wasn't an asshole. I was just wanting, Jay Buhner was rough. I thought
for me, it was by far Jamie Moyer, by far, just a pompous, arrogant ass. And same thing. Changeup is a field pitch, and I'm like, well, what did you think of your changeup tonight? Well, what did you think of it? And I wanted to look at him and go, listen, buddy, I'm here to get a 10-second soundbite from you and get the hell out of here.
I went to Seattle and prep.
Nobody gives a crap what I think of your changeup. I'm just trying to get us, And then a couple of his teammates would kind of quip, "Oh, the guy who invented pitching." Like even a couple of his teammates were just like, God, yeah. Moyer went, and this has been years, so God forbid people did a podcast and talked about us when we were in our 20s and 30s. They'd say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So,
but you remember this. You remember that vividly, right? I mean,
oh my God! I remember vividly. So pompous, arrogant. You're like, oh my God, stop it, dude! Just stop.
Yeah, you're 42 years old and it's still working for you. Just know the gig. You know the gig.
Yeah, I would avoid him eventually.
Then you turn it around. You turn it around, and this is before I knew you, Sandmeyer, but Norm Charlton was the best, was absolutely, before his, persona in Seattle blew up, and obviously, in Cincinnati, he did the job there with Dibble and that other psycho Myers. But here in Seattle, he was a quote that was just, you would wait as long as you wanted, and he'd get naked in front of you, and you're like, really? I mean, really? And just drop his pants. Okay, well, I gotta wait. I need to put my microphone in front of you.
Alex
he was the best.
Alex Rodriguez, another one, just like. There was a lot of Russell Wilson and Alex Rodriguez and the whole I'm going to speak in cliches type thing. And he did that, and that kind of, but again, like
he was so young though too. I mean, he was pretty damn young.
Yeah. But
that was a trip.
There's several others, but there's also some great quotes.
Good ones. Nelly was great.
Mark McLemore was outstanding, and he was also really prickly, but he would tell you he was going to be a dick.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Hey man, I might bite your head off. I might not." I'm like, sweet. Like he would warn you. So you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Mark McLemore, loved talking to him, but you'd have to earn his trust first. He was one of those guys who was a little standoffish, but then once he realized you can kind of carry on a conversation. He was
have your shit together. You had to have your shit together with a bunch of them. They didn't want to waste their time.
I always thought Beltre was great. Beltre was always great. The limited time he was here, he was great. Felix was always good. Fuck Beltre. I remember Beltre getting so excited every year. What was he here? 3 years? 3 years of the. No one was a bigger fan of the Bigger Dance than him. I fucking loved it. Him and Rick Griffin would have. I would bring them all down brackets. And
oh my God!
Are you serious?
Don't turn my stomach now. That Bigger Dance is another reason I don't have hair back there.
But he loved it. Fucking Adrian Beltre going through the picks, sitting in the clubhouse, going.
That's funny.
Should we take care?
So
of the
he's like, I got to pick my Sweet 16 between Anna Kournikova
Kathy Ireland
and Maria Sharapova.
Yeah,
he would be doing that.
Great. Yeah.
By the way, try to explain the Bigger Dance to your teenage son. That's always a fun one. Had to do that a couple years ago.
I tried to explain it to my mother when I was producing Mitch. Matthew, how does the Bigger Dance work? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll give you Tyler Osborne's phone number. You can have Tyler try to explain it to you.
Yeah, my mom would listen to it and would write me a 4-word email. I did not raise you. Is that 5? I did not raise you. Yeah, 5-word email. I did not raise you.
That's great.
No signature, just send. That's what I get in my inbox.
Look at this. We almost got with the full show. Didn't even talk about the team. Didn't even talk about them. It was a Mariner.
Bummed out about
2025.
I was doing my best.
No, I'm not. I'm not bummed out at all. I'm good. I was glad.
No, I was doing my best. All right, I fell down today. All right, I'll tell you. That's why I was so pissed off. I'm 10 days away from surgery. But I fell down, smashed my finger, and I thought, God, we're falling again? We're falling. So, Sandmeyer, don't fall down. Don't fall down on that surgically repaired shoulder. That's why I was so
take a note of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you got to tell the story. I mean, you can't just say
how'd you fall down?
Well, okay. So on Sunday, so I'm in property management, right? So on Sundays, I have one vacancy, so I go and I clean it all up because I'm going to go make sure it's clean, and I'm going to go show it this week, and I have no problem doing little stuff, on your own, playing music, and I'm it's like a cutting board, and I'm cleaning this cutting board, and I'm lifting myself up with my left side because my right side is not worth shit. I mean, literally, I've got to move to my left side because my right hip is so bad. So I put my hand on the cutting board. The cutting board falls. So I'm a little bit up. The cutting board falls. It falls perfectly. It's not flat. It's the point of the cutting board gets into my finger, right? So my finger's purple, and then I fall down onto my shoulder. So my finger's purple. I'm pissed off, and then I'm all re-pissed off about my hip and the whole, why did I wait this long? And that happened around 3:00, and I just crunchy ever since. And I thought, no, don't start drinking because we got to tape this. We got to do a little tape because you'll be a mess by 6, 7 o'clock. But no, we're the surgery's on the 17th, but I mean, like literally. So the cutting board falls, and then, I forgot. It hits my nose, and my nose starts bleeding. And when you get punched in the nose, I had that happen. I broke my nose a couple times. But the whole fucking thing pissed me off, and I texted. I think I told you, I was just so crabby, like an old man. And so this was really good. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. Just pissed off. Like I fell from only like a foot or 2 feet down, but it went right into my shoulder. My fingers fucking throbbing. I had to go to 7-Eleven and buy some ice, and I had to ask the guy. I had to buy a cup so I could put. Yeah.
You were so pissed before we started recording, dude. You were so pissed. Yeah. My God. Now this explains it.
Yeah. No, I had to go to this 7-Eleven and ask for a cup. Well, we charge full price. And I mumbled really pretty loud. Of course you fucking do. But I shouldn't even, you got to do what you guys got to do, right? So then I stuffed ice in the cup. I got my finger in my cup. In the cup while I'm driving home, and I'm like, you're such a loser. You're such a loser. You can't even get up on your right-hand side. You fell because the cutting board, because you couldn't get up on properly. And I was just like, let's just call it good. Let's just put me down like an old dog. Cause I think we've reached where we're going.
Hey, I think I need to send a care package to you tomorrow.
No. I'm way better. You guys, I have no idea. I mean, we're talking about the Kingdome and all this shit. It was like, oh, perfect. And I said, no, just one beer. So I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. And I'm glad we didn't talk about the Mariners because it is. And I mean, what do we have to look forward to? An NFL draft? There's nothing to look forward to.
Yes, there is something this week. Give me the winner. I want a winner.
Play the music. Play the music. The Masters.
You can. I think hold on. The Masters. What about
the greatest?
I got it. Hold on.
Yeah, but tomorrow's the NCAA final. When this drops, I've got Houston in one pool. I win 800 straight up. So I'm thinking. Oh man.
There's just nothing better. It's just not.
You ever notice that Jim Nance can't pronounce his L's? Hello, friends. It's Ernie Els and his lovely wife, Weasel.
That's funny.
I'm a sap for this week.
Who do you guys have?
The lefty Phil Mickelson.
Well, are we going to talk next Sunday? I mean, it should just be you guys because I probably won't see much of it.
I ain't going to see any of it. You're not going to see any of it?
It doesn't do it for me like you guys.
It doesn't do it, but you like playing, but you don't like watching.
I'm not a big fan of golf on TV.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But now if I have time on Friday, so if I can get into it, if you're giving me homework, I'll watch on Friday, which will trap me and get me going. Okay. I'll really be into Amen Corner. That's my gig. It's Amen Corner.
Mm-hmm. You like to bet. Give me a betting favorite. Who are you going to bet on? You going to bet on anyone?
I have no idea. Ernie Els. I have no idea.
Okay, Ernie Els. I'll give you one.
One of the young guys.
Favorite.
One of the young
Rory's
guys.
the favorite. John Rahm, third favorite. Colin Morikawa.
Yeah, that guy. That's who I like.
Get me Morikawa.
Yeah.
All right.
Someone third, fourth, fifth favorite.
Okay. Sandy, what are you going to take?
I'm going to bet with my heart, not my head, which is a huge mistake, and I'm running with Rory.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Good for you.
Everybody wants Rory to win.
What about Houston, Florida?
Huh?
Go Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, who are you going with, Stretch?
No, I have Houston.
Do you listen to what he says? He just said he's got $800 on the line if Houston wins.
I win $750.
No, he nod his head and act naturally every time we tell him something?
Yeah, he's a host.
What the hell?
He's a host.
He just got done telling you.
Yeah, no, he's a host. No, I'm going to head up to...
It's like I'm talking to my son. I swear to God, 2 seconds ago, you were like, yep. So I was waiting for you to come to the door because we're leaving. So what is it?
You're so right.
So I'm thinking about hedging, though. I'm thinking about hedging. Headed up to Quilceda by the Bay and put a little on Florida. And then Newcastle. Newcastle should beat Leicester on the road tomorrow morning. So if I do a little Florida-Newcastle parlay, that might get me there. All right?
Okay. All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Stretch.
No.
Thank you.
No,
Oh, thank you.
no idea. Appreciate you.
Sandmeyer, thank you. Glad you're back playing.
Julian Peterson. What was last week? Who was he last week? Oh, Fortson, Danny Fortson.
Danny
2
Fortson.
weeks ago was Danny Fortson.
Yeah,
Last week I was Russell Branyan. And this week I was Julian Peterson.
We should be writing that down. You have a producer, Puckett?
Three-time Pro Bowler.
When he signed, that was a big deal when he signed. I'm sorry, you're trying to wrap it up, but when Julian Peterson, that was fun because he still had a couple years in him. That he was fun.
He was a Pro Bowler. Doesn't really matter. It's about all pro, but he was a 3-time Pro Bowler here, and that was the end of the Holmgren era. 2008 was Holmgren's last year, I think. They won 2 more division titles after the loss in the Super Bowl. They came back and won the NFC West 2 more times, flamed out in the divisional round, and then Julian Peterson was on those teams in 06, 07, 08. And then Holmgren went, that was the year that was the 4-12 disaster.
Yeah, well, they were picking up wide receivers. The
last home game was against the Jets, I think, and Holmgren, they had already announced he was going to leave, and they were throwing snowballs at him.
Yeah.
They were throwing snowballs at Mike Holmgren, unless I'm totally losing my mind.
Oh, you're 100% right. And standing next to him getting hit by the snowballs was Neil Scott.
Well, Neil Scott was at the moon landing. I mean, for Christ's sake, that guy's been everywhere.
What's at the moon landing? All right, we got to go. We'll talk to you next week. See you, boys. All right, hopefully everybody enjoyed it. A full hour of the Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer and Matt Stretch Johnson. And listening back to it, I did realize that I really had that Masters music potted up real high. My apologies to everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And listen, here's the deal. It was an hour where we really didn't talk about the depressing, well, we didn't talk about it at all. A little bit of Victor Robles, about the depressing Mariners road trip. So you're void of it. I think that show right there just probably put a smile on your face. I mean, I could sit and listen, both of them just storytell forever, especially both of them. They're great storytellers. Sandmeyer's story about being a bad boy at the Kingdome, just beautiful. It's just great. I hope everybody enjoys it. Again, the full show of the Sports Pit comes out every Sunday night. Might be a few Sundays we have to move some things around with schedules and things, but comes out Sunday night for Puck's Posse members. So if you ever want to watch or listen to it early, you can sign up. We will always give you a free version of it on Monday. We'll not usually play the full show on Mondays. We'll always give you a little snippet of it, but I'm going to leave it open here for the majority of you, so you can get a taste of it. If you want to sign up and listen to all of it or watch all of it, then you can later on. We're trying to reel you in, but we will make it available for everyone for the time being. But then eventually, the full show will go just for Puck's Posse members. But you can watch the full or listen to the full hour of it. They're great guys. They're fun. As they're just like how they are with us doing the show. They're like that behind the scenes. They're just great guys, and they could tell stories about baseball forever. How about the Lou Pinella? How about Sandmeyer sitting in Lou Pinella's office, eating canned smoked salmon, crackers, and cream cheese, leading up to the start of a game, or just puffing on daggers and drinking Coors Lights post-game. That was my only regret. I never got to cover them. I'd won a couple of games as an intern in '99, where I'd have to go down there and sit in there and put a microphone in front of them, but never full-time as someone who got to cover the team. I got Bob Melvin to start. Ugh. All right, let's wrap up the daily puck drop for today with Hey, What the Puck. We do it every single day, Hey, What the Puck, as we wrap it up here. It's brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. It's your restoration company. Lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online, restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. Before we get to that, quick shout out. Friday night, I promised I would say something to him. Watched a great high school baseball game. It was two great teams, Metro, both undefeated in Metro. Ballard versus Ingram. It was a close game. Great pitching. Great timely hitting, defense, all that kind of stuff. Congratulations to Ingram, the Rams. Two great head coaches, Doug Montgomery over at Ballard, Tim Lee over at Ingram. And Tim used to be an assistant coach at Ballard. Now he's the head coach at Ingram. But just it was a fun atmosphere. Great high school game. Great crowd. It just was fun. And a great night of baseball. Ingram pulling off the win. I think it was 3-2. So it was, but just a well-played game. Great pitching on both sides. And it was fun. And it was really cool because these two teams have probably, I don't know. I'm going to make up a number. I think it's like 10 kids or maybe more. 10 or 15 kids, I think, who all know each other and played Little League baseball together, and a majority of them in Ballard Little League. And then because of the school boundaries and all that, the ones that are above north of 85th and all that, they've got to go play at Ingram, and or since they've moved. And I just was cool. It was just kind of cool to see the two schools who have a lot of history with the players on the team, but then history with the coaches. And it just was a fun night. Took a buddy and his kid, my kid, and we just sat there and watched it. It was just a lot of great baseball. So congratulations to Ingram, and see if the Ballard Beavers can get back on the winning track. All right, Hey, What the Puck, again brought to you by Restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. I miss the Kingdome. I just want to wrap it up with that. I miss it. I love baseball outside. It's better. I know. I get that. 100%. Safeco Field. That's what we talked about in this episode, where I call it Safeco Field. I don't call it T-Mobile Park. I love it, sitting in the sunshine. But, God, there just was something special about the Kingdome. And we talked about it. It was our kind of shithole. And it had a smell to it, had a feel to it, had a vibe to it. And there are times that I do miss it. I miss that it was indoors and it was crappy, because it had this weird charm to it. Probably not so much for baseball, because baseball outside is 1,000 times better. But there are moments when I go to Seahawks games that I miss it. I do. I think it was great for football. I think it was better for football. I think it's better than what we currently have. I know people are going to disagree. I just do. I just think it was so much fun in there for football. It was so loud. I mean, if you never got to experience it and you think the Seahawks Stadium is loud, nothing compared to that. Nothing compared to those teams in the 80s when they were rolling with Chuck Knox. Nothing compared to that sound and just the things that you could do in there. I'm not exaggerating. I really am not. I've told the story many times. There was a guy that sat behind us, like 3 rows, who smoked during the games. Just no one batted an eye. Like, oh, okay. I mean, he was the Hell's Angel, I'm pretty sure, so no one wanted to say anything to him. But it just was a simpler time. It just was just easy peasy. King beers were like, I don't know, $4. My dad and his buddies would all just share the King beer and like get the plastic little paper cups and then pour everyone a little beer in their little plastic cups for the $4 King beer. Just memories. I miss it. I miss how loud it was when the Wave was in there. I know I'm a big Wave fan at football games, not baseball games, but the Wave there was epic because there's nothing, because it was a circle, nothing broke it up, and it was just continuous, and it looked like a damn wave. It was awesome. That's it. Reminiscing about the Kingdome. I just miss it. I miss the Kingdome. That's my Hey, What the Puck. Again, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online. Restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. All right. Again, mention this one more time before we get on out of here. Puck the Picker Majors Pool. It is up and running right now. We've got some fabulous prizes, and it's super, super, super easy to sign up. Puck the Picker Majors Pool. Go to pucksports.com. Click on the link, learn more, and then click on the join now, and boom, it's going to take you to join Puck the Picker Majors Pool. You put in your information, and then you can make your picks. And again, what a fabulous prize we've got, man. Are you kidding me? We've got the best prizes that you can imagine. This is a season-long contest. You're going to pick 2 golfers in every major: Masters, PGA Championship, U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. In first place is a trip to Gamble Sands, 1-night stay, 2 rounds of golf for 2. Second place is a foursome at Fairwood Golf and Country Club. Third place, a foursome at Mill Creek Country Club, and fourth place, a foursome at Troon's Premier Seattle Golf Courses. One of, again, West Seattle Jackson or Bill Wright, again, formerly Jefferson, plus a 1-hour top range session at one of those venues. Pucksports.com. Sign up today. You have until Wednesday at 11:59 to get your picks in. A reminder, you have to pick 2 new golfers for every major. So whoever you pick this week, you cannot use for the rest of the majors. 2 new picks for every single major. And again, our coverage of the Puck the Picker Majors Pool, also our golf coverage throughout the summer, all brought to you by our good friends at Synthetic Turf Northwest. You tired of that muddy backyard like I was? The cost of watering your lawn like I was? Synthetic Turf Northwest is going to take care of you. They're pet friendly. They do lawn installation, custom turf installation. Golf is here. They'll put in a golf green. I mean, listen, this is mine. Look how beautiful this thing is. Huh? That's my backyard. They did this last year. I mean, look how beautiful my backyard is. That's a hell of a backyard. You don't see any weeds back there, do you? Best decision we ever made, working with Synthetic Turf Northwest. That's a backyard palooza back there, man. It's wonderful. You're not going to regret it. Synthetic Turf Northwest. Again, tired of all the mud and just all the other stuff, the watering of it. It's beautiful. And you're going to work on your golf game. Those 3 holes, all different, like you can't really see it there, the undulation of the greens. It's fantastic. Has my putting improved? You're damn right it's improved. All thanks to Synthetic Turf Northwest. So visit them today, syntheticturfnorthwest.com. They will be providing a title sponsor here, all of our golf coverage this summer, including on Wednesdays, I mentioned this before, Travis Fulton, former golf instructor, analyst at Golf Channel, now host of the Stripe Show podcast, golf instructor, Travis Fulton Golf Studio, TravisFultonGolf.com. He'll join us on Wednesday to preview the Masters. Travis is from here, by the way, from Seattle area. Moved to Florida years and years ago to get out of the rain and be a golf instructor. So he'll join us on Wednesday. Again, brought to you by Synthetic Turf Northwest, syntheticturfnorthwest.com. All right. That's it for a Monday. God, I'm already to Wednesday. Monday extravaganza. Coming up tomorrow on the show, we will talk to Danny Kelly from The Ringer, NFL Draft, still counting down that. Also, John Canzano from johncanzano.com. And it's our GM, Jim Duquette, MLB Network Radio, coming up tomorrow. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!